She sat in the hospital waiting room, 8 months pregnant, watching her husband's family laugh at her from across the hall. Her mother-in-law, Diana Voss, pointed at Sophia's swollen belly and whispered something to her daughter. They both covered their mouths, but they weren't hiding the laughter. They wanted her to hear it. Imagine carrying a child for a man who doesn't even want you anymore. Sophia pressed her hand against her stomach. The baby kicked. She breathed. 3 days earlier, her husband Marcus had sat across from her at their kitchen table and slid divorce papers toward her like a bill he was tired of paying. "My mother was right about you," he had said. "You were never built for this life." She hadn't cried, not because she wasn't broken, but because she had learned a long time ago that some rooms don't deserve your tears. What nobody in that waiting room knew, what not a single Voss could have imagined, was that the hospital they were sitting in belonged to Sophia's mother. Every chair, every hallway, every machine keeping their sick relative alive, all of it hers. Sophia's mother, Rosario, had spent 40 years being invisible. She had arrived in this country with $200 sewn into her coat lining and a name nobody bothered to pronounce correctly. She cleaned offices. She ironed other people's clothes. She smiled when people spoke to her slowly, as if poverty had made her stupid. But Rosario was never stupid. She was watching. She watched which buildings got sold before the city announced rezoning. She watched which small companies supplied the hospitals, invisible and essential. She made friends with lawyers who owed her favors. She opened accounts under names nobody connected to her. She invested every spare dollar quietly, patiently for 4 decades. When Sophia was 12, Rosario sat her down and explained everything. "I look like nothing to them," she said. "That is the plan." "But Mama," Sophia had whispered, "why don't we live differently? Because the moment we do, they start asking questions, and I am not ready for their questions yet." Before we go further, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment with one word that describes your mother. Your support keeps these stories alive. Rosario died on a Tuesday, quietly the way she had lived. Sophia got the call while Marcus was at dinner with his mother, celebrating something she wasn't invited to. By Thursday, the Voss family had already started making plans for Sophia's removal. Diana called it a natural transition. Marcus called it what's best for everyone. His sister Petra filmed Sophia crying in the hospital parking lot and sent it to the family group chat with a single caption, "Can't believe he married this." Sophia read every message. She saved every one. And she said nothing, because her mother had taught her that silence was not weakness. It was a loaded weapon waiting for the right moment. The will reading was scheduled for 10 days after the funeral. Sophia sat on one side of the long conference table. The Voss family sat on the other, already dividing up assumptions like they were portions of a meal. Diana wore her best jewelry. Petra scrolled through her phone. Marcus sat stiff, avoiding Sophia's eyes. The attorney, Mr. Caldwell, cleared his throat. The estate of Rosario Mendez includes all holdings under the Mendez Wellness Group and its subsidiaries. Total assessed value, approximately $89 billion. The room stopped breathing. Diana's coffee cup hit the table. "The sole beneficiary," Mr. Caldwell continued, "is her daughter, Sophia Mendez. This includes full ownership of all hospitals, properties, and corporate entities, including, as of 12 years ago, the Voss Medical Consortium." Marcus's face went white. "What did you just say?" "Your family's company," Mr. Caldwell said calmly, "was purchased by Rosario Mendez in 2012 through a subsidiary holding. Your family has been employed by Sophia's mother's organization without knowing it." Diana stood. Her chair scraped the floor. Her voice broke into something sharp and desperate. "That's impossible. That woman cleaned floors. She sold food on the street. You're telling me she owned us?" Sophia looked at her mother-in-law for a long, quiet moment. "She built something," Sophia said softly. "While you were laughing at her, she was building something you will never understand." The lawsuit came 3 weeks later. The Voss family called it fraud, called it manipulation, called it impossible for a woman like Rosario to have built an empire legally. Mr. Caldwell arrived to court with 30 years of documented evidence. Every investment, every signature, every board meeting filmed, notarized, verified. The judge dismissed the case before noon. That evening, Sophia sat in the corner office her mother had kept empty, waiting for this exact day. She pressed her hand to her stomach. The baby kicked again. "I know," she whispered. "I know." She did not destroy the Voss family. She did not have to. The contingency clauses in Rosario's will had already done it. Their salaries stopped. Their assets were frozen. Their name was being removed from the buildings they had always assumed were theirs. Sophia wrote them each a letter, short, no anger in it. "There is a job placement program through the foundation. You are welcome to apply, not because you deserve it, but because my mother believed that grace was more powerful than revenge." Marcus kept his letter. He never stopped carrying it. Diana threw hers away. She wasn't ready, and maybe she never would be. The child was born on a Wednesday morning, a girl. Sophia named her Rosario. She held her daughter in that hospital room, in the hospital that belonged to her, in the city her mother had quietly conquered while everyone looked the other way, and she whispered the same words she had heard every night of her childhood. "You are stronger than they will ever know." If you are pregnant, raising a child alone, or carrying something heavy right now that nobody else can see, this story was for you. Drop a heart in the comments. You are not invisible. You never were. Subscribe if this moved you, and share it with someone who needs to hear that silence can be a strategy, and patience can be the most powerful thing you own.